Lesson plan class number 2. Okay, for this class, for class number 2, we have that the topic is the present perfect tense, and the aim of the class is to reach great practice of communicative skills by using the language to talk freely and accurately about events that have happened to each student. And the activities to be developed to reach this goal are the following. Number 1. The teacher will present a video with the topic and how the present perfect tense is used. For that, we are going to take a look on the video that I will use. Of course, I watch it before to make sure that the information is suitable for my purposes. Okay, let me start.
.tv The present perfect.
We're not going to watch all the videos.
When do we use the present perfect?
But exactly, you have that. When do we use the present perfect?
1.
And you have there 3 reasons.
To describe
1.
an experience.
And there are some examples as well.
I have traveled the world.
Okay, that is number 1. Number 2. To describe
House
a change
prices
during the time.
have increased a lot.
Okay, and finally there's another.
To describe accomplishments.
To describe
Doctors
accomplishments.
have discovered cures for many diseases.
Okay, and there's an example.
A continuing
and finally,
action that started in
number
the past.
4.
Sam has worked here for 7 years.
Okay, as you have seen, we can have here a grammatical structure, we can have time expressions, examples, and students will watch this video in order to have a better idea how to use the present perfect. And of course, the teacher must, if it is needed, the teacher must stop the video to give explanations if students request them. As a second activity, we have a game to like a warming up activity or to break the ice, right? An icebreaker activity that is called guess and say. Super simple. A student is going to mime to perform an action, and students must guess, the other classmates, of course. But this time, the teacher will request students to use a complete sentence by saying you have, and of course, a verb in past participle to form the present perfect tense. In that way, students will take turns, they're going to have fun, and they're going to use the target language with the grammatical structure that we need them to achieve. Activity number 3. Once students have played this game, it's time to present them a video with the structure, with the affirmative sentences, with the negative sentences, and how to use undertime expressions as well, but maybe in a very formal way in order to make them understand this kind of tenses. So for that, I will share with you a little presentation in a platform that is called Quizzes. Okay, as you can see, I have already here with 6 slides. Let's check. Okay, the presentation is here. Okay. No, it's not this one, but it's okay, we can check it. Slide 1. Ah, yeah, here it goes. And you have there a short explanation what the present perfect tense is. It says that the present perfect tense refers to an action or state that either occurred an indefinite time in the past. You have there something to consider, how it is formed, how do we use the verbs, how to conjugate the verbs according to the present perfect tense. Then we have the grammatical structure for affirmative sentences, negative sentences, interrogative sentences. As you have here, you can stop for a minute to make them read, probably, or to make them participate in order to read. It says that the affirmative sentence is subject plus have or has and past participle, negative subject plus have and has plus not to make the negative form with the past participle of the verb, interrogative have or has plus the subject and plus a past participle of the verb. And something that we have to consider as a very important issue that most of the students may present problems with: the irregular verbs and the regular verbs. Or probably by now, after many years in primary, they have learned this before, but maybe you can refresh that information or remind them that there are some irregular verbs and how to change these verbs into the present perfect form, the same as regular verbs. And finally, some time expressions for present perfect: for, since, already, yet, just, ever, never, recently. There are many, okay? And finally, examples. You have here some examples, but you may ask them to participate with their own examples. Okay. Okay, the fourth activity is a mingling activity. The teacher will provide students chunks of information, paragraphs that are not complete, and they have to look for the correct sentence to complete that paragraph. So maybe short little papers with the sentences that will be pasted all over around the class, so they can work in groups and have fun as well, to find the correct piece of information that is missing. That will be like a game in which they will need to apply what they have just watched in the presentation that I showed you. Activity number 5, and probably one of the most important, is that you're going to ask, as a teacher, you're going to ask them to elaborate an asking will question. An asking will, right? It's a will in which they are going to find, or they're going to make, like this. Let me show you something like this. This is the asking will, but instead of having there as rewards money, they can only add points and they can start playing. It could be made as a handcraft, so they're going to be motivated and interested in doing something nice to share with their partners and to play, because here the idea is to use the language to play and to learn from that experience. So they have to start writing questions about have you ever been, have you ever eaten, have you ever tasted, have you ever traveled, to use the grammatical structure of the present perfect. Okay, and in that way they are going to spin the arrow to find a question they may ask his or her friend, and the other person has to answer. So in that way they will play. Yeah. And finally, let me see, what do we have? Number 6. As a follow-up activity, that it could be also as a homework, you can send a short questionnaire with the experiences about their travels, right? Where they have gone, what they have done during those journeys, those travels they have made. And in that way they are also practicing the structure given by the teacher. And of course, that will be a very good technique or method for us to know, to see if they are learning, if they are applying what they have learned, and if we have to make any change or any feedback when it is needed. Okay, so that's the end of lesson 2. Thank you.